Hello, this is Sarita, also known as Bible Study Girl, and I'm back with another edition of the Bible Study Girl podcast. Joining us, as usual, is Bible Study Brother on the mic.
What's up, people? It's your boy, Icarus Gray, also known as Bible Study Brother.
Yeah,
that's already been mentioned.
Yeah, because I was gonna. Yeah.
I mean, but they know.
Okay, all right, okay. And you are here for part 2 of my grandmother's faith journey. Part 1 was really interesting.
It's
Bible Study Brother learned a lot of things he did not know. Apparently, he only talks to grandma about food. So
we talked about.
So he got a real education. I hope it helped you guys because it helped me. So today in part 2, we're going to catch up to where we left off last episode. We were talking about your life in the tavern while you were going to nursing school. And have you ever heard this story before?
No, this story I know.
Okay, he knows this story.
This one I know.
So I'm opening up the floor to you to talk about your experience in the tavern and what happened to you while you were working there.
One point real quick. Is this not where the Boolie moniker was created?
No, you were Boolie as a child. Uncle Blue gave you that
Uncle
nickname.
Blue gave me that name.
Yeah.
Oh,
She was Boolie as a child.
I'm thinking about the cake.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
You're
where
thinking about the
came
cake.
from.
This is where the cake came from.
Okay.
All right. Just making sure. Just making sure. All right. Now, go ahead, grandmother. I don't mean no harm, but I didn't,
Well, eventually I had worked at a laundromat. I had worked at different places. And eventually I started working at a place called the Chatter Bar, which was a tavern I didn't know nothing about. Serving no drinks, didn't know nothing.
So how did you get that job?
The guy I was dating said that he knew someone who needed somebody to work at the tavern.
Okay.
And so I said, I don't know about that. I don't know if I can do that. And so he took me by there. Mm-hmm. And I met Earl and Baby Neil, the owners of the tavern. Mm-hmm. Now, they were older people, but they were really nice people. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed all the time that I worked there working for them because they were kind people.
Okay.
And he told me to come on to work.
Okay.
And I was so nervous that first day I got to work. I remember we had about 8 customers in there, and they were ordering stuff. And my hands were shaking and everything. And I got this beer out of the cooler, and this guy named was Butch Woolfork. He was sitting there, and he had ordered it. And I dropped the glass and broke it and everything. And I was so embarrassed. And all of the guys in there were older guys that came into the tavern. And they just looked at me and said, "Oh, girl, don't worry about that. Just clean it up and go about your business." And they really put me at ease. And so that's the way I felt all the time that I was there. I was at ease with the customers because they were nice.
Did you just serve drinks or did you have to mix them?
I mixed them too, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you still have that skill today? No?
Oh, I haven't mixed a drink in a long time.
Okay.
I used to do the martinis. I did them all. Tequila Sunrise,
Even though I knew you worked at a bar.
Kids Sunrise.
daiquiris, whatever.
Even though I knew you worked at the bar, I just saw you serving the drinks. I didn't necessarily see you.
Oh, I mixed them. I was
I've
the only person back there. Yeah. I had to mix whatever they ordered.
Like, grandma seemed like you smoking cigarettes and mixing a good old drink. Like, that's like in my head, that's always been like when she said.
Were you smoking at that time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I started smoking when I was 25 years old. I started smoking because I had a gentleman friend who bought me cartons and cartons of cigarettes because when he first met me, my friends and I would have a pack on the table because it was the end thing to do, and we just take out one, never see another one until we go out again.
Yeah.
And he thought I smoked, so he bought me thousands and thousands of cartons of cigarettes. I had them stacked up against the wall. And I said, I'm going to learn how to smoke these cigarettes. And by golly, I learned. I coughed and huffed and puffed until I learned. Worst thing I ever did. One of the worst things, I guess.
I will say one big difference in my life and in your life is you've had a lot of gentlemen friends. What were the men more aggressive back in the day? Because men do not approach me. Or is it because you are so outgoing and rambunctious?
Put that out in the universe.
What?
Well, I was outgoing, and now that was part of it. I was always an outgoing person, but older men during that time, in that particular era, they would approach females. I wasn't the only one they would approach. I mean, they approach mostly all females.
But you were very beautiful.
I was.
Still are.
Yes. You don't feel like you were?
I was okay, I guess.
See, this is the thing. It's a family thing. I'm telling you.
It's a thing.
You learn a lot here.
Okay. So back to this bar. I want you to tell the people about the incident that happened at the bar.
Were we here?
Well,
I just wanted to know how we were here.
Well, I don't know if y'all was here or not.
No, we weren't. You were asking if we were born?
Yeah.
Oh, no, we weren't born.
Okay.
No,
okay,
we were
okay,
not
okay.
born yet.
That's what I was like, oh my God.
I thought you were saying, were
You know
we
what?
here in the conversation? Like, yeah, this is
No,
what we left off.
No. Now I'm like, I know we weren't, because we would have
weren't.
had full on, like.
No, what happened was my boss, there had been some robbers in some other taverns. And so he was fearful that we would get robbed. And so he had what they call an alarm put into the cash register, where once you pull the money out, a silent alarm would go to the police station and they would come to the tavern.
Mm.
And when they showed it to me and we tried it out that one day and we pulled the money out and they came too quick, I told them, y'all, we're going to be up in here with the people if they come in this quick.
Yeah.
And so nobody paid me any attention. And we got a man that came in one day and he sat down at the bar and he ordered a drink. And generally I asked people for my money when I gave them the drink, but something told me, don't ask him. So I didn't. And
That's
I
that
went
Holy
back,
Spirit, honey.
and then he called me back up there again. No, he didn't. He went around to the end of the bar. My boss and his wife were sitting at the end of the bar, and he went around there and put a gun on them. And he called me over there, and I went over there, and they told me it was a stick up. And I was looking at him, and he said, "Don't look at me." And I never will forget, I looked straight up in the ceiling. And my boss's wife, he told her to go to the register to get the money. And I'm knowing when she get this money,
She's pulling.
she gonna pull it, and the police are gonna come. And I'm saying to myself, Lord, just let him get out of here.
Yeah.
He didn't get out. She pulled it, and all of us, and let's see, it was me, the guy that worked at the bar with me, Earl and Baby Neil, another friend of theirs that was there, and I had about 5 customers in there at that time besides the guy. And all of us were in there together
Stuck.
for hours. They came and they were saying, for him to come out. Well, he wasn't coming out. So then here we are, hostages in the place. The guy that worked the floor, I didn't even know he was missing. But what happened was, while all this was going on, he backed up into the men's bathroom.
Oh,
And he was back there. I didn't even know he was gone until the man had to go to the bathroom and he caught him in there. And he walks in there and Warren laid out on the floor and he drug him out. And Warren made like he was having a seizure. And the man told him, "Get up." And Warren looked straight at me and I said, "Can't you see he's having a seizure?" And Warren went to shaking again. Because I'm saying, if you show him that you're not having a seizure, he'll kill you. So anyway, this is what happened. We told you got to get him out of here. And he allowed him to be taken out.
because he had his fake seizure.
Right.
Okay.
So then he's up to the door and he's talking to the SWAT team. And he's got my boss taking her up there with him with a gun on her. And he keeps on going back up there, and they talking to him. They calling him on the phone and everything. And
This is like the movie.
she said,
This is for real.
you know, she's doing this here. And I started to tell him, I said, man, she got a bad heart. She gonna fool around and die. On you. I said, I tell you what, I'll go up to the door with you if you just put the gun. Just tell me to go.
Were you praying at this time, or you just
I don't
trying
know
to
what I
survive?
was doing.
Just trying to survive.
Because you're in a mode where it's like it's all a dream.
Yeah.
You have no. It's not. It's like it's not real.
Yeah.
It's happening, but it's not.
Not. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
so
told you that.
he allowed baby to get out. He let her out. And then it came to be my boss's turn. My boss, you know, he wanted him to go out there and negotiate his release. And so he let him out. And so then it was me and the other 5 patrons that were in the bar. He had me to fix some food because we used to have tamales and hot dogs and Polish and stuff like that. Had me to fix some food, had me to get him cigarettes out of the cigarette machine with the money from the cash register and get him something to drink and stuff. And I remember him asking me, he said, what is the quickest way to kill yourself with a gun? I said, oh, you'd have to put that gun to your temple. I told him that. And I don't know why I told him that. It's just, like I said, I'm in this state of shock, really.
Yeah.
So we would go back up to the door and everything quite often. The SWAT team wanted to talk to him. And I remember the last time we went up to that door, he had his arm around my waist, and they were talking to him. And I remember his voice cracking. He started to cry, and he said, I can't go back. Because he had been in prison before. And he said, I can't go back. I can't go back. And I'm saying, oh, my God. Because I'm knowing he finna kill himself. And I'm standing, I'm praying, and I'm saying, oh, Lord. Oh, God. Have I paid my insurance up so the kids can get the insurance money? I mean, this is all the stuff that's going through my head because I'm thinking I'm going to die too.
Yeah.
Because if the bullet comes through him, it's going to get me. And then he pulls the trigger. And I felt the weight of him fall back. I never saw him because I would not look at him because I did not want to take that image with me in my life.
Yeah.
I remember holding the door open for them to come in, the police to come in. They had to take me loose from the door because I was holding that door.
Yeah.
And it was a dream. At first I thought I couldn't go back there to work, but I made myself get up and go back down there. The next night was my night off. I made myself go back down there on my night off. And in fact, sit in the area where he fell back.
Really?
Yeah. But I had to make myself do that because otherwise I never would have went back to the place. And I guess that's where I never got a real comfortable feeling about, working in a tavern or anything anymore because before then I was pretty comfortable,
Fine. Yeah.
But just realizing that anything can happen at any time.
So did that make you
more watchful? Yes.
Yes, but what did it do to you spiritually? Like, did you feel protected? Did you feel unsafe? Like, were you?
I felt I had to have been protected. I felt I had to have an angel watching over me for to even make it out of there because I thought that was the end.
That was the end.
I thought that was going to be it.
How did it change your life and your decision making? Or did it?
I'm not sure that it did. I'm not sure that it changed my decision making.
I just asked that because, people, when they have near-death experiences, a lot of times they say, it changed me. It made me more reflective. It made me do things differently.
I didn't really do things differently.
You didn't?
No. I became more cautious and watchful.
Yeah.
But that was about it. I mean, as far as my spirituality, it was still the same.
Still the same. So, you finished nursing school. What's next for you after nursing school?
Getting a job in the hospital.
How was that?
Different. before I got a job in the hospital, I had money all the time. I got tips all the time, so I had money on my person all the time. And I remember going into a store one day and getting stuff and then realizing you don't have the money yet. Your check hasn't come. I really had to adjust. Mm-hmm. The amount of money didn't matter. It was that I had money, where I could spend it if I needed it. And it changed a lot of that. I thought, with more pay that I could do better. And so I moved to a different area, tried to do some things different,
So at this point, you graduated from nursing school. Your 3 children are back in Arkansas. What is your relationship like with them being so far away?
Very strained. Mm-hmm. But each summer, I would try to get them to come, to St. Louis mm-hmm. and spend time with them. And I would go down, but I didn't go down often mm-hmm. because at first I didn't have a car.
Yeah.
But then once I got a car, I did go down more often. I used to catch the bus and come home like at Christmas, or somebody might be coming that way and I would ride down with them. So I never knew when I was coming. But then once I got my own transportation, I began to go down on my own.
And they came with you in the summers.
Yeah.
Did you go to church?
When I initially went to St. Louis, my grandmother was going to Mercy Seat. And so I did go to Mercy Seat, mm-hmm. and I was going to join Mercy Seat. But that's where I say I parted ways with the church. I did not go back to church until I came back to Arkansas.
Really?
Really. I would go in a church,
but not regularly.
I didn't have a church home.
Okay.
And most of that was because when I was working at the tavern, I would work until about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning on Sunday morning before I got home to get some rest. And I didn't try to get back up to go to church. Mm-hmm. And once I became a nurse, I worked on Sundays a lot.
Yeah.
So that was part of it. That was not all of it, because I wasn't trying. If I had been trying to get there, I would have got there.
You would have gotten there, yeah. So
I wasn't really trying hard. I had a lot of friends who were church members. Mm-hmm. And in fact, all of my friends were church members. Really.
But you just...
I didn't go. I went to their church every once in a while, but I didn't go to any same church. I didn't join a church.
Did you just feel like it was something that wasn't important? Did you feel like you knew them enough? Like what was your...
I just put them on the back burner.
Just put them on the back burner and live.
That's what I did.
Yeah. I get it. Okay, so your children are growing, coming of age. I want you to talk to me about what it was like to get the phone call that your daughter, your teenage daughter that you left with your mother, is expecting a child.
What did you know? That was my initial. But then I thought about it, and I remember I told my mother, I said, there's no need of hollering and going on right now. I don't know that my mother did. I know I did. But, right now, she's just going to need support.
Somebody just lowered their head at the fact that they probably did get yelled at.
She got yelled at.
But, because I didn't get yelled at when I got pregnant with her or Michael. Mm-hmm. I didn't get yelled at.
Everybody was calm. But you...
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about the first time.
Oh my God, here we go.
He's a hater.
Hold on, wait, let me do this. No, because I'm not. So the best money investment you ever made in your life was what, grandmother?
They tell me it was when I paid for Serena. That's what they tell me.
That's why I love my grandmother.
I am constantly reminded, you bought her, you paid for her.
Best money you ever spent, honey.
Yes. It really was.
What was it like the first time you saw me? Like,
I had been down, and I was trying to stick around because your mom had graduated, and it's baby time. It's time the baby is due. But not knowing exactly when the baby is due, I went on back to St. Louis, and then I got the call that here you are, you're in the world, and I didn't see you right away. But when I did see you, I saw a beautiful little girl.
Oh, I was pretty.
Of course you were.
That apple head was pretty. Oh my God.
Well, you were too.
Thank you very much. I was waiting for that.
He just wants his ego.
But this is her. We'll stay with her for right now. But how did you feel about her? Your first
grandchild. And we talked about this a little bit last night, but like I'm 36 now. Like that's when you became a grandmother. Like that blows my mind. So what was it like for you? Were you just like, oh, she's so cute. Look at those cheeks. Like
it's a baby in the world. She's here. That's what I was like. I don't know what else to say. Except that I was glad you were here.
And I'm glad you're here, Grandma, because you were like my bestie. Like,
but I don't know. I guess I'm like my children now. That's the way it was. So there was nothing else.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't anything that you weren't going to accept. I mean, you just went on with the flow. Here she is. She's go.
Here. Now let's live life.
Yeah.
Beverly, you got to get a degree so you can take care of this baby.
Yeah, I did tell her that. You got to do something because you got a kid.
I have a question because there's a point in time where it's just you and grandmother and stuff. Because Sarita is ever growing. She's so innately unique that I wonder what was it like spiritually to spend that time with her, because she is intelligent. So I know that the relationship y'all had was something special for them couple years before I got here.
There were 4 years without you. That's more than a couple.
And,
we had time.
Well, in that time before you got here, she had learned how to read and everything. She had been an amazing child. She had walked at an early age, and she had talked at an early age. In fact, most people would think, they say, oh, how are you, you lovely, sweet little girl? And she said, I'm doing fine. And they would be just blown away. Because my mother would tell me, Sarita's talking. I said, oh, yeah, she's talking. Yeah. And then I got there, and that girl was talking. I mean, talking. She wasn't just saying, mama, da, da, yeah. She was making sentences. And so it was very unique, very unique.
How old was I when I was
a year
with sentences?
You were a year old doing that.
What?
That's true. I'm telling you the truth. She was a year old.
Okay, I call you baby genius, but that's ridiculous. But
well,
then
she
again,
was doing it.
She had a lot to say.
That's the reason I told my mother, I said, that's not true. She can't be doing that, but she was.
So it's a unique experience.
Yeah.
Would you say I was a handful as a grandchild?
No, honey. You weren't.
Right. Okay. I see what you're trying to do here before
after a while you was gonna knock out and fall asleep. So
this is true.
And you like, gonna come out. You were not over rambunctious.
I wasn't rambunctious. Did my mouth get me in trouble?
I don't remember your mouth getting you in trouble as a kid.
Okay.
As a little child. No.
All right.
Okay. I was just wondering.
I see what you're doing here. You're leading the witness.
No, just opening the field.
All right.
But I don't remember her doing that.
Okay. And so you go from one grandchild to two. He's here.
Yeah, Scorpio came along. I was trying my best. The mom had called me from work and told me that she was going on to the hospital. And I was trying to drive from St. Louis to Little Rock in time enough to get there for your birth. I didn't make it. I was behind time getting there.
Well, I was a little early, so, you know.
Yeah. But he made it safely.
Early,
So we're going to fast forward a little bit. I'm here. He's here. We're here. And our summers are in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you enjoy your summers with your grandchildren?
I really did.
You did? I thoroughly enjoyed my summers with you. They were awesome.
They were the best. I learned how to read thanks to my grandmother.
He did.
I was not.
And let
my
me tell you
sister.
something. Bible study brother was a little. He was rambunctious. I guess he got the rambunctiousness from you. Listen,
I guess.
listen. You're right. I was very mannerable. I was a mannerable child. He was wild, and I distinctly remember coming to stay with you one summer, and he was just hitting on me and being himself, and you were like, what is wrong with you? Why are you letting this boy beat on you? I was like, they told me I can't hit him. And you were like, knock him out. Best
Are you
summer.
sure I didn't just say hit him
Grandmother.
back?
No,
No,
Grandma,
ma'am.
you know. And you used some cuss words in there
Used some
too.
very choice words. I remember that because I was like, oh, what's about to happen now? This is
But
never
you
happened.
changed my life for the better. Like, he learned to keep his little hands.
Yes, he did.
And ushered in the start of Bible Study
Yes,
Sisters.
Yes. I'm beating it out
Deciding
of
my
him.
life. Like, oh, there's other
Yes,
choices.
I can beat this kid. That's great. So how did it make you feel to be able to, you didn't really get to, you did spend the summers with your children, but I feel like you're much closer to us than you were to your children. Do you know?
No,
You feel like we're on the same,
about the same. Yeah.
about the same?
Are you sure? Because
You think I'm closer to you all?
yes.
Not
Not
I
like
would
in the
say
sense
in, like, yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
like, not
not-
like in the sense
not
of like
present
you
day.
love them, like love us more than them, but like closeness wise, like we got
Because you came
you
came back to Arkansas when I was like 12.
Yeah.
So we spent a lot more time together outside
y'all
of
did.
summers.
Yeah,
we
like
did.
I don't have a recollection of not being able to spend time with you and be like grandma.
Yeah. You've
Yeah.
been very, very involved.
Yeah, I remember you all was so angry when I came back, especially Joe, because we had left the swimming pool. That was mostly
That was
But-
him. But
But she replaced that swimming pool with another one, and it was all good.
yeah.
why did you come back here? You shouldn't have come back here.
You can do
Had
that or
plans and I just
He
changed
he
them.
had plans for his fantastic summers, and you ruined them when you
no
decided
more
to
zebra
move
store.
back to Arkansas. But you moved back to Arkansas because my great grandfather, your father, was sick and eventually ended up passing away from cancer. Do you feel like, you said when you came back to Arkansas, you started back attending church. Did that change your spiritual life any or no? Losing your father or?
Losing my father didn't. I came back because my mom and I always had an agreement. The minute she said I need to come home, I would come home.
Mm-hmm.
That was our agreement from the very beginning when I left. So when she said, I need you to come home, and she meant today, she didn't mean 2 weeks like I needed to try to do before I could come. I came home because I had promised her that, and I just kept my promise.
Real quick before we get further, the craziest fun fact about us in where you were living, the apartments that you lived in, is they are the apartments where Mike Brown was shot and killed by the
Yes.
police, and it's
Yes.
it literally blows my mind
Mine
because when we found that out, because it wasn't until
When I was watching the news, I was like,
You saw the
I
apartments.
did. I said,
Yeah.
that looks familiar. Like, is it possible that that really is?
Yeah, it was.
And it
Yeah.
was. And when we went back to St. Louis, I don't know, maybe 4 or
was-
5 years
yeah.
ago, and we drove back around, it was just a surreal.
it was so weird. It was one of
And
those,
to see the
yeah.
places that we used to go to on the news was crazy.
Yeah.
It
To-
was crazy.
to
like,
be in a place where it kind of let us know how real God is, because that could have been me,
or
it could have been
one of our cousins.
anybody.
That's how we did life. We
Yeah.
were we walked those streets. My cousins, especially my older cousins, they had a summer where they worked at the McDonald's that's right down the street.
Yeah.
And it could have been anybody, like in my family. And I think that is, Okay. I think that is, I don't know. That's just, it's a real tie. It's a real connection that makes it closer to home. You know, we didn't know him and we didn't know his family, but that is where we did life together. So that is like,
that was my childhood.
Yeah,
Essentially,
that was my
our
childhood.
Is that like in learning, like things gained and lost were in that apartment. Like, you know, like big moments in my life
happened
in that apartment. So learning to read, me and Janae, millions of things
happened in that apartment. Yeah. Well, we tried to squeeze it into 2. We're gonna have to do 3, but we're gonna get it done. The last one is gonna be the last.
You know, y'all got it. This is amazing.
Great conversation.
This is also like time capsule stuff that I'm appreciative to have. But anyway,
me too, because life is not promised, and everybody doesn't have a sit down interview with their grandma that they can go back and listen to. You know, if you go before us, we'll be able to play this. He'll be crying and
like a fool. You will too, but it's fine. I understand, but you know.
But this is a precious treasure because everybody doesn't get this opportunity, and I'm sure a lot of people wish they could sit down with their grandparents and just have an open conversation. And I do appreciate that about you, and I love that about you, that I can just talk to you about whatever.
Anything.
I could say the craziest stuff to you, and you would be like, "Girl."
What?
But as always, make sure that you go to BibleStudyGirl.com. My sister posts blogs every day, and there's a testimony for you to be gained there. Follow her on social media, on Instagram at _BibleStudyGirl, on Twitter at BibleStudyGirl 2, and email her at BibleStudyGirl2019. I want to engage with you guys more and just continue to build the fact that it is not I preach, it is not they preach, it is not you preach, it is we preach.
And until we meet again, keep preaching. You finna pee-pee? Okay.